It is winter. It is cold, it's wet, and it's generally quite uncomfortable. Let's visit a station with similar attributes. We are in a German city that is often described as the ugliest city of Germany. At a station that is often described as one of the ugliest stations in Germany. To be precise, we are at Ludwigshafen Central Station. The station of price category 2 has 10 platforms and the abbreviation of RL. Besides Ludwigshafen Central Station, there's also Ludwigshafen Mitte, further in the city center. This one has the abbreviation of RLSM and 3 platforms. Ludwigshafen Central Station is one of only 3 triangle stations in Germany. The other 2 are Horem in North Rhine-Westphalia and Harlesgrün in Saxony. But both of those are comparably quite small. Both only have a single platform per branch to the branch line, and while Horem is a little bit larger, they're both, compared to Ludwigshafen, very small. Ludwigshafen is the only one that is on 2 levels and has 10 platforms. The lower level consists of 8 tracks, reaching platforms 3 to 10. Platforms 3 to 5 are used by trains running between Mannheim and Schifferstadt. Platforms 6 to 9 are used by trains running between Worms and Schifferstadt. Reaching the BASF from Schifferstadt is possible via platforms 9 and 10. Track 13 is a bypass positioned to the south for trains between Mannheim and Schifferstadt. The upper level has platforms 1 and 2 as well as the through tracks 11 and 12. The curve is used by trains running between Mannheim and Worms. Long distance as well as freight traffic is primarily using the middle tracks. South of the station, along the line to Schifferstadt, is the depot for DB Regio, which is primarily used for the electric units on S-Bahn Rhein-Neckar, but also for some diesel multiple units. Next to the depot is the freight station of Ludwigshafen, which has a connection to the BASF as well as to Worms and Mannheim via bridges. The bridge to Mannheim spans over the lower level of the station. Along the line to Mannheim is a stopping point Ludwigshafen Mitte with an outer and an island platform. Track 4 on the outside does not have a platform. In operational terms, the 2 upper and 2 lower tracks each form their own line. All tracks are used flexible in both directions, which means that trains often drive in the counter track. The history of railways in Ludwigshafen dates back to 1847, when the railway line from Neustadt an der Weinstraße was opened. The Palatinate Ludwig Railway built a terminal station next to the Rhine, named Ludwigshafen am Rhein. 6 years later, the first transfer option was added at Ludwigshafen station when the Palatinate Ludwigsbahn Railway, together with the Hessian Ludwigsbahn Railway, began operating a link to Worms and Mainz. In 1867, the Rhine bridge to Mannheim went into operation. In the course of this, Mannheim got a new railway station and a triangular junction was built south of Ludwigshafen station. In 1910, Ludwigshafen got its own freight station, which was built near the triangular junction. The station was connected to the lines to Worms and Mannheim via its own curves. Even though there were plans to relocate the central station far before the Second World War, after the Second World War, the station was rebuilt at the exact same location. In 1959, a connection curve was built from Mannheim to Worms to prevent fast trains heading towards Mainz from having to reverse at the station. 10 years later, the main station was finally relocated to the position of the former triangular junction. At the time, the station was considered the most modern in Europe and was intended to represent the progress of the Federal Railway. The tram connection was built underground and the entire station is spanned by a large road bridge, which is why an overly spacious station building was not constructed. However, from the very beginning, the new station was in a less favorable location than the old station, as it is significantly further away from the city center. The German trade journal Stadtverkehr already said that Ludwigshafen didn't need a main station. As early as 1984, complaints about the main station arose. This prompted the Major Werner Ludwig to write a letter to the President of the Federal Railway Authority in Karlsruhe. Numerous complaints and grievances from upset citizens prompted me to recently take another personal look at Ludwigshafen Central Station. I must say that it was a particularly negative experience for myself. A project in which the city of Ludwigshafen had invested some 190 million Deutschmarks presented itself in a condition that can only be described as uncared for, unclean, unwelcoming and unattractive. I am not saying that it is an eyesore for the city, but it certainly is not a flagship. Since the turn of the millennium, things have been going downhill at the main station. Although the opening of the Rhein-Neckar S-Bahn in 2003 saw the construction of a workshop at the main station and a second bridge over the Rhine, a stopping point was also built near the railway bridge to Mannheim. This new stopping point, called Ludwigshafen Rhein-Mitte, is closer to the city center and has better connections to the tram network. Then, in 2008, the tram tunnel connection from the main station to the town hall and onto the line along BASF was also closed. Besides the age of the station, it is actually completely step-free. However, there are no lifts here. Instead, everything is done by ramps. Should we take a look how long it takes us to get from here, the entrance, to platform 1? Alright, we made it. Besides the lack of lifts, they managed to create complete step-free access without using lifts. But it's quite a long journey to get to the platforms. Besides its 10 tracks, Ludwigshafen Central Station is kind of inflexible, although on the other hand it's also quite flexible. Let me explain on the map. Normally, platforms 6 and 7 are used for journeys towards Worms and platforms 8 and 9 for journeys towards Schifferstadt. The two directions do not block each other, provided that platforms 7 and 8 are not used simultaneously. To reach platform 6 or 7 from the direction of Worms, trains must change to the counter track before Ludwigshafen. When trains depart from platforms 8 or 9 or from the yard towards Worms, no trains can arrive from Worms at the same time. To travel from Worms to the BASF, platform 9 must be used. Platforms 6 to 9 are however only used for a few journeys in the timetable, as most lines are oriented towards Mannheim. Speaking of Mannheim, trains from Schifferstadt to Mannheim usually use platform 3, while trains in the opposite direction use platforms 4 and 5. Platforms 1 and 3 will then be used in Ludwigshafen Mitte. In general, you almost always have to change tracks before Ludwigshafen to get to the right platform. Also, trains from Mannheim to Schifferstadt and from Schifferstadt to Worms cross paths, which can only be avoided by skillful track changes before Ludwigshafen. Overtaking via track 13 is only possible to a limited degree, as it is not possible to stop at Ludwigshafen Mitte from track 13, nor can all platforms be reached in Mannheim. The track is therefore used almost exclusively for freight transport. Long-distance trains can overtake suburban trains, however, by using the upper Schifferstadt track via platform 4 and Ludwigshafen Mitte platform 2. But this means that trains from Mannheim cannot enter Ludwigshafen Central Station. Generally, tracks going in the same direction, for example 6 and 7, are not located on the same platform, so spontaneous track changes are hardly possible. Platform 1 is used by trains traveling from Mannheim to Worms, and platform 2 is used by trains traveling in the opposite direction. If platform 1 is to be used for trains traveling towards Mannheim, trains must change to the counter track before Ludwigshafen. Overtaking in the direction of Mannheim is possible, whereby the slow train must use platform 3 at Ludwigshafen Mitte and the fast train must use platform 2. At the same time, trains can only enter in the direction of Schifferstadt. In the direction of Worms, this is only possible if the fast train travels through Ludwigshafen Mitte on platform 3. However, this means that trains can no longer enter from Worms or depart towards Mannheim. Freight trains usually run through Ludwigshafen Mitte via track 4 and in the direction of Schifferstadt via track 13, without blocking any other journeys. In all other directions, some routes are blocked. As you can see, there are quite a few options here. And that should be it for the first part. In the second part, we will look at the lines that stop here at Ludwigshafen main station. Hi Pigeon! Alright, we made it. They actually managed... Hey! Der ist weggegangen! Ach schön. Komplett für den Arsch. Mit dem Gimbal nicht auskennen. Mann! Ah. Aber den ersten hattest du drin. Ja, diesmal bin ich dann aber ich hier. Der Take war perfekt. Ja, lassen wir mal so. Notfalls denke ich mir irgendwas aus im Schnitt. Let's just fix it in post.